This is MTG Burgeoning, and in this video we are going to update and upgrade the 99 of our Jodah the Unifier Legendary Humans EDH deck. Thank you for joining us for another installment of the Up and Up series. Today we're going to update and upgrade Jodah the Unifier. Here we have a 5-color Legendary Humans build, so let's get right to our first change. The card going into the 99 of this deck, it is Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. Here we have a Gruul Legendary Human Soldier, a 3/3 that we can sacrifice to give legendary creatures we control +1/+0 and indestructible until end of turn. With the ability to recur Hajar from the graveyard very easily in this kind of build, we can make sure that we protect our legendary humans by sacrificing this Loyal Bodyguard. With Hajar going in, the card it's going to replace is Sen Triplets. Now, before you start wonking out completely in the comment section below, let me explain the thought process for this change in addition to the ones that are going to follow it. With the legendary humans becoming more and more powerful and plentiful with each passing set, the long-term goal is to make sure that we craft the 99 of this build to make it a legendary human tribal build where the humans are helping each other. Although there are many very powerful humans that in a vacuum could completely take over a game, the goal here is to make sure that we can have humans helping humans, because of course this deck is referred to as the Human Fund. So that's why Hajar, who helps out our legendary creature, I'm sorry, said that in the wrong way, legendary creatures are legendary humans so well through its sacrifice by giving them indestructible and +1/+0. Sen Triplets, as powerful as they are, they do nothing to help our side of the battlefield outside of what we might be able to cast from our opponent's hands. It's very unlikely that they're going to have any legendary human synergies in their hands. So for right now, this is the goal, to take the 99 of this build and make it more synergized and enhanced with each other, rather than having a series of standalone legendary humans who, on their own, most likely as a commander, can really warp the game in our favor. We're looking for more connectivity and synergy rather than just a group of individuals. So the triplets are out and the Loyal Bodyguard is going in. The next card going in, it is Boromir, Gondor's Hope. We have a 3/4 human warrior here for 2 in Azorius colors, and when Boromir enters the battlefield or attacks, keep in mind that enters the battlefield or attacks, so it's not just a one-and-done trigger. We get to look at the top 6 cards of our library, and we may reveal a human or artifact card from among them and put them into our hand. Of course, the rest go on the bottom of our library in a random order. So as soon as Boromir comes into play, we're replacing it with another card from the top of our library. We should have very little trouble hitting on a legendary human, but we also should have very little trouble in also having our choice of an artifact. This deck does have a number of artifacts. Of course, it's not as many as the number of legendary humans, but the odds are in our favor that each time Boromir comes into play or attacks, we're going to put another card into our hand. And that card advantage is going to lead to our ability to continue putting pressure on our opponents, building our board state, and making sure Jodah can come down and lead our team of humans to imminent victory. With Boromir going into the deck, coming out is going to be Bruse Tarl, Boorish Herder. Bruse Tarl has a very similar set of triggers. It's also an ETB trigger and an attack trigger, but when we do it with Bruse, we have target creature we control gain double strike and lifelink until end of turn. Now, what I have come into many times with Bruse Tarl is we don't have tons and tons and tons of evasion with respect to our humans. We have some global evasion that we can provide somewhat, but sometimes we can just have a guy get chump blocked for days. And although we are inflating our life total of some of that aforementioned life gain that we were talking about, we weren't talking about life gain yet. We're gonna get to that point, I'm sure. But with Bruse Tarl, it's gonna be hard to always make sure that he can break a creature through by giving it the double strike and lifelink. Yes, we could gain the life and gain the life and gain the life, but we're not really doing much with that other than just having a creature get chump blocked each and every turn. With Boromir going in, we're going to put more cards into our hand, more creatures into our hand, more artifacts into our hand, and I think overall, from a human and board state perspective, Boromir is going to be better than Bruse in this deck. We're going to see. Through gameplay and game testing, of course, we are going to see. All right, the next change going in, it is Eowyn, Shield Maiden. Here we have a 5/4 with first strike for 2 and Jeskai colors. And at the beginning of combat on our turn, note, this is not just a one and done effect. This is an at the beginning of our combat effect, which we're going to be able to do during every one of our turns. If another human entered the battlefield under our control this turn, which will not be a problem in this deck, then we create 2/2/2 red human knight creature tokens with trample and haste. And then we draw a card if we control 6 or more humans. That is an unbelievable amount of abilities on the body of a 5/4 first striker. We're going to have other humans come into play. We are going to be able to create these human knight creature tokens that have trample and haste, which means we can send them into combat the turn that they come into play. And just note that Eowyn is going to count as a human. The human that comes into play to create the 2/2/2 red humans is going to be a human. Right there, we already have 4 humans by activating Eowyn's ability just one time. It's not going to be very long before we're able to draw a card by controlling at least 6 or more humans. Unbelievable. Eowyn is going to be an absolute powerhouse in this build. She is going to do an awful lot of work when she gets onto our side of the battlefield. With this Jeskai human knight going into the 99, coming out is going to be General Ferris Rokrick. Okay, so let me tell you, I have a lot of love for the general here. Very, very powerful. I have a copy of this in our Niv Mizzet Guilds Matter deck, where every single card in the deck, every single spell in the deck is 2 colors. And getting Ferris Rokrick onto the battlefield early, we get so many of these 4/4 Golem artifact creature tokens that it's not even funny. However, even though we do have quite the number of multicolored creatures in the 99 of this build, Eowyn's creature token producing ability creates humans, while General here creates golems. So what we're sacrificing here is that by casting a multicolored spell, we're getting a 4/4 golem, where with Eowyn, we just have to have a human come into play to create 2/2/2 humans. The power and the toughness are the same. The ability to trigger it will be easier for Eowyn than it will be for the General here, which overall should allow us to get more bang for our mana investing buck with Eowyn over General. That's why we're making that swap. I do think that we will benefit more with Eowyn over Rokrick. All right, our last card going in, and this one's an easy one. This is Sun Quan, Lord of Wu. This is a 4/4 that's going to give all creatures we control horsemanship, which means they can't be blocked except by other creatures with horsemanship. In a vacuum, this is most likely your creatures are unblockable and you'll probably win the game. A copy finally became available of Sun Quan, and we are very happy to add it into this legendary human build. With this human soldier going into the 99 and really ramping up what we can do with our humans, considering this a win condition, of course, coming out tragically is Kenny. I love Kenny. Everybody that's a fan of MTG Burgeoning knows that he loves Kenny. And it was a hell of a day, I'll tell you, when we found out that Kenny had died in the Phyrexian invasion. That's another conversation. But when we harken back to what we were talking about earlier, by making sure that the 99 of this build is more synergistic with themselves and not just completely individualistic and taking over the game, which Kenny can do, the abilities that we have on Kenny, I don't think, I mean, they are very powerful abilities here. They're not necessarily going to end up winning us the game like Sun Quan can do when it comes into play. You let me know about your thoughts on that exchange in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.